Maya Williams stood there, her black uniform crisp and spotless, hands trembling as a silver tray wobbled in her grip. Across the room, Gregory Hamilton, real estate mogul, 44 years old and worth more than some small nations, stood stiffly in his tailored navy suit. His face a mixture of disbelief, embarrassment, and something dangerously close to doubt was pale beneath the ballroom lights. "Maya," he said, voice low but firm. "Claire said she saw you coming from my study. The safe's been opened. $800,000 are missing. Can you explain that?" A few hours earlier, she had been in the same house, moving quietly as always. Claire Hamilton, elegant, blonde, and smiling too perfectly, had called her upstairs. "Maya, could you tidy up Mr. Hamilton's study before the guests arrive? I noticed dust on the shelf near the safe," she'd said sweetly. "Yes, ma'am," Maya had replied. It wasn't unusual. Claire often asked her to make last-minute preparations before events. Still, something in Claire's smile that evening had felt rehearsed. The study smelled of cedar and old money. Maya worked carefully, dusting the polished mahogany shelves, rearranging a few books, wiping down the glass-top desk. She didn't even look at the safe. She had never dared to. Downstairs, she could hear the first guests arriving, the faint sound of a string quartet warming up. When she turned to leave, Claire was standing in the doorway. "Oh, good, you're still here," she said, tone airy. "Could you close that window? I don't want the wind to ruin the curtains." Maya did as told. Claire watched her every movement. That moment, so ordinary, so brief, would ruin her life. Hours later, when Gregory Hamilton discovered the safe open and $800,000 gone, Claire was the first to speak. "I saw Maya leaving your study earlier," she said, voice trembling with what looked like righteous hurt. "I didn't want to believe it, Gregory, but..." And now, here they all were in front of 200 guests, champagne still bubbling in untouched glasses, the music silenced mid-measure. Gregory's face burned red, his jaw clenched tight enough to crack teeth. "Is it true?" he demanded. "No, sir," Maya said, trembling. "I would never." "Then how do you explain it?" he roared. "How do you explain being in my study when no one else was allowed there?" I was just cleaning, Mrs. Hamilton told me." "Don't lie." Claire's cry was sharp enough to slice the air. Her eyes gleamed wet, her hand gripping her chest. "How dare you try to drag me into this?" "I'm not lying." The words seemed to ignite something inside Gregory. The man who had once thanked her for saving his son from a fever now stood over her like a judge passing sentence. 3 years you've worked here," he said, his voice shaking with rage. "And this is how you repay us? I trusted you, Maya. My son loves you. For God's sake." "Mr. Hamilton, please." But he wasn't listening. The anger came faster than reason. "You're fired. Do you hear me? Fired. And I swear, if I find that money in your hands, I'll have you arrested before the sun rises." He gestured sharply to a nearby security guard. Maya backed away, tripping over the edge of the carpet. Her wrist struck the corner of a table, sending pain shooting up her arm. She bit back a cry. "Gregory, please," she whispered through tears. "You're making a mistake." "Enough," he barked, eyes burning. "Get out of my sight." The moment felt endless, the glittering chandeliers, the scent of champagne, the shame crawling up her neck. Then came a small voice, trembling but clear. "Stop." Everyone turned. Elliot stood on the staircase, his tiny hand clutching the railing. His bow tie hung crooked, his eyes wide and shining with tears. "Dad," he said, his voice cracking. "She didn't do it." Gregory froze. Clara blinked, her mask flickering. "Sweetheart, don't." "I saw her." Elliot's voice rose, stronger now. "She was with me in the kitchen. She was making cookies because I didn't like the smell of the wine. She didn't go near your study." The room went dead quiet. Even the chandeliers seemed to stop shimmering. Maya stared at the boy, her vision blurred by tears. The only sound was Elliot's uneven breathing. Claire smiled, soft and cold. "Darling," she said, stepping closer to him. "Sometimes we imagine things. You're tired." "I'm not tired," he shouted, his small hands balled into fists. "You told her to go to the study. I heard you." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Claire's face paled, then quickly composed itself into wounded confusion. "You must have misunderstood. Honey." Gregory looked between his wife and his son, the fury on his face beginning to crumble into something else. Fear, maybe. "Elliot," he said, his voice gentler now. "Are you sure?" "Yes," the boy whispered. "She didn't steal. You're yelling at the wrong person." The silence that followed was like the moment before a wave crashes. No one dared to breathe. Claire's fingers trembled against her necklace. Maya's heart pounded so hard it hurt. For the first time that night, someone had spoken the truth aloud. But it didn't matter. Gregory straightened, his face closing again, choosing pride over uncertainty. "We'll talk about this later," he said sharply. "Right now, she leaves." "Mr. Hamilton," Maya began. "Please, go." The guards stepped forward. Elliot cried out as one of them grabbed Maya's arm. "Dad, don't let them take her." Claire swooped in, wrapping her arms around the boy. "Sweetheart, please," she murmured. "You don't understand. Sometimes people aren't who they seem." Maya winced as the guard's grip tightened on her bruised wrist. Her breath came in short, shallow gasps. She looked toward Gregory one last time. "Sir," she whispered, "I've loved your son like he was my own." Gregory didn't answer. As the heavy doors opened and the night air rushed in, Elliot's cry echoed through the golden halls. "She didn't do it. Maya didn't do it." Outside, the sky was deep blue and endless. Maya stumbled onto the driveway, her vision swimming. She pressed her injured wrist against her chest and inhaled shakily. Through the open doors behind her, the sound of Elliot's sobs drifted out, muffled by Claire's soothing lies. Maya straightened, trembling. The city lights stretched before her like a promise and a curse. She didn't know how she would survive the next day, or how she would ever clear her name. But she knew one thing for certain. Somewhere inside that gilded mansion, a child still believed her. And that tiny belief, fragile as it was, might be the only light she had left. If you felt for Maya, give this video a like, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Who knows? Someone nearby might be watching too. Maya sat with her wrist wrapped in a cold towel, her other hand gripping a half-empty mug of chamomile tea that had long gone cold. Her uniform was folded neatly in the laundry basket, clean, ironed, and no longer needed. She had come home in silence. No tears, no screams, just silence. It was the only way to keep from breaking. The bruising on her wrist was spreading blue and red like storm clouds under skin. She didn't know what hurt more, the pain, or the fact that it had come from a man who once told her she was part of the family. The man who had laughed at her jokes while Elliot napped on her shoulder. The man who now believed she had stolen from him. She reached for her phone. There was no call from Gregory, no message, no apology. Just a single voicemail from earlier in the day, her landlord reminding her that rent was due by Friday. And one more text from her mother. "Mija, how are you? Did you send the medicine money yet?" Maya stared at it. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Then she turned the phone over, face down. There was nothing to say. Not yet. A knock at the door made her flinch. It was late. No one visited her this time of night, not unless it was bad news. She peeked through the peephole. No one. Her heart pounded. She opened the door cautiously. A plastic grocery bag sat on the doorstep. Inside, gauze, pain relief gel, a small box of crackers, and a bottle of orange juice. There was no note, no name. She looked up and down the hallway. Empty. Maya took the bag inside, her chest tightening. Someone knew. Someone cared enough to leave help without asking for thanks. For a moment, she allowed the warmth of that gesture to soften the hard shell around her ribs. But it didn't last long. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight, and reality pressed in again. The world thought she was a thief, a black maid accused of stealing from the people she served. How typical, how convenient. And the damage was already spreading. By morning, 3 job applications had gone unanswered. At one agency, the receptionist had smiled tightly when Maya gave her name, then disappeared into a back room and returned with an apologetic shrug. "Sorry, we're not hiring." She knew what that meant. Her name had made it onto the list, the unspoken blacklist among the wealthy. Once you were accused, even falsely, you carried that stain like a second skin. Maya sat in a park across from a row of homes with well-kept lawns and iron gates, watching nannies in yoga pants pushing strollers, gardeners clipping hedges, delivery men scanning doorbells. The machine of privilege kept turning, but she was no longer a part of it. A few pigeons fluttered near her feet. She tossed them a few broken pieces of cracker from the night before. She didn't cry. Not here. She couldn't afford to. "Maya?" The voice was small, hesitant. She turned quickly. Standing on the sidewalk, wearing a blue windbreaker and holding a crumpled brown paper bag, was Elliot. Her heart leapt and then panicked. "Elliot?" she gasped. What are you doing here?" "I remembered your address. From when Dad gave you a ride that time." He looked smaller than she remembered, his cheeks pale, his hair slightly messy. His little backpack sagged from his shoulder. "I took a taxi," he added quickly. "I had some money saved." Maya knelt down. "Sweetheart, you can't do that. Your father must be out of his mind with worry." Elliot looked down. "He doesn't even know I'm gone." "What?" "He's working. He's always working. Claire just tells me to stay in my room. She doesn't talk to me much unless it's to tell me what I did wrong." Maya took his hand. It was cold. "When did you last eat?" "Yesterday morning," he said quietly. "She made oatmeal, but I didn't like it. She said if I didn't want it, I didn't have to eat." Maya's throat burned. She stood up, looping her arm around his shoulders. "Come on, let's get you something real." 3 blocks away, the neon sign of Rosa's Tacos flickered as they approached. It was a tiny place with 4 plastic tables and the scent of grilled meat drifting into the street. The owner, a stout woman with kind eyes, greeted Maya with a nod. "2 carnitas, please," Maya said, "and horchata for the boy." Elliot devoured the tacos like he hadn't eaten in a week. "Slow down," she said gently. "They're not going anywhere." He looked up at her with wide eyes. "Why doesn't Claire cook like this?" Maya smiled faintly. "Because some people think food is just food, but people like Rosa put love in it." He drank his horchata in big gulps. "Can't you come back?" She hesitated. "It's not that simple. But you didn't do anything wrong. Why can't they just say sorry?" "Because the truth doesn't always matter to people like them," she said softly. "They believe what's easiest to believe. And sometimes, they don't want the truth to get in the way." Elliot looked down at his cup. "Claire says people like you always leave." Maya froze. "She said you were nice because they paid you, that you never really loved me." Maya's chest cracked open. She reached across the table and took his small hand. "Elliot, look at me." He looked up, eyes full of hope and fear. "I love you because of who you are. Not because of money. Not because of where I worked. You're my family. Always." His lips trembled. "Then why can't you come back?" She didn't answer. The truth sat like a stone in her throat. A moment later, a black Mercedes screeched to a stop outside the taco stand. Gregory Hamilton jumped out of the driver's seat. "Elliot!" he shouted, storming toward them. "What the hell were you thinking?" Elliot jumped. Gregory's eyes landed on Maya. "How dare you take him from my house?" "I didn't." Maya stood, her voice rising. "He came to me. He was hungry. He hadn't eaten." "Don't lie to me." "Stop," Elliot cried. "I ran away. She didn't take me. Claire doesn't care about me. She laughs and sings like nothing happened." Gregory froze. "She's lying," the boy said. "And Maya didn't steal anything." The words echoed through the open-air diner like the ringing of a bell. Maya closed her eyes. It had happened again. The boy had spoken. And once more, the world had no choice but to listen. The ride back to the Hamilton estate was quiet, too quiet. Elliot sat in the back seat, arms crossed, his small face pressed against the window, watching the lights of the city blur into streaks. Gregory's knuckles were white on the steering wheel, his jaw clenched, lips set in a line he hadn't broken since they left Rosa's Tacos. Maya sat beside Elliot, her wrist still sore, her heart pounding with every passing block. She hadn't been asked to come, but Gregory hadn't stopped her either. She wasn't sure what this was, a truce, a transition, or another trap. "I should have called the police," Gregory muttered at one point, more to himself than anyone else. Elliot didn't turn around. "You didn't, because you knew I was telling the truth." Gregory said nothing. The silence settled again like dust. By the time they reached the estate, the gates opened slowly, as if reluctant to let Maya in. Claire's white BMW was parked crookedly in the driveway, the driver's door left open. Maya's chest tightened. Gregory parked, then turned in his seat. His voice was low, tired. "Stay here, both of you." He stepped out and headed toward the front door, but Elliot was already unbuckling his seatbelt. "I'm not staying," he said firmly, pushing the door open. "She needs to hear what I said again." Maya hesitated, then followed him. The night air was cool, carrying the smell of fresh-cut grass and something more bitter tension, perhaps. Inside, the grand foyer was dim. Only a few sconces were lit, casting long shadows across the marble floors. Claire stood at the base of the stairs, arms folded, a glass of red wine in her hand. Her expression flickered the moment she saw Maya. "You brought her back?" she asked, looking at Gregory as if he'd lost his mind. Gregory raised a hand. "Don't start. She has no place in this house," Claire hissed, her voice rising. "After what she's done." "She didn't do anything," Elliot interrupted, stepping between them. Claire looked down at him, blinking. "Elliot, darling, this isn't the time." "I heard you," he said. "The night of the party. You told Maya to go into Dad's study." "No." Her mouth twitched. "That's ridiculous. I was at the top of the stairs. You didn't see me." She laughed, short and sharp. "You misunderstood, sweetheart." "No, I didn't. And you told me she didn't love me, that she was just nice because you paid her." Maya flinched. Claire set her wine glass down hard on the entry table. "Gregory, are you really going to let this child slander me?" He looked at her for a long, hard moment. "Why was the safe open, Claire?" She blinked. "What? You're the only other person with the code. Are you accusing me?" "I'm asking you." Claire's laugh turned brittle. "You'd rather believe the maid than your wife?" Gregory looked down. "I'd rather believe the truth. And right now, the truth is screaming from every direction but yours." Claire's hands shook. "This is absurd. You've been stressed. You're projecting." Gregory opened his mouth to reply but was cut off by the shrill ring of the house phone. Claire's eyes darted toward it. Gregory moved quickly and picked it up. "Mr. Hamilton, this is Olivia from First American Bank. We're calling to verify a transfer from your account late last night." He froze. Claire went Polly. "How much?" he asked. $800,000, sir. Wire transfer to a Daniel Hayes. Gregory closed his eyes. "I didn't authorize that." "I understand. We've paused the transaction, but we'll need to file an internal fraud report." He hung up slowly. The room pulsed with silence. Claire took a step back. "This is insane. Daniel's an investor. We've done business before." Elliot looked up at his father. "Dad, I can prove it." Gregory turned. "Prove what?" "I recorded her. Last night. I used the tablet. I heard her talking to Daniel." Maya's heart skipped a beat. Gregory knelt in front of his son. "What did you record?" "She said the transfer would go through in the morning, that you were too blinded by guilt to see it. She said Maya was just a distraction. Claire's voice cracked. That's not true. I still have it, Elliot whispered. Upstairs. I'll get it. He ran up the stairs, his small feet echoing off marble. Claire lunged toward the staircase, but Gregory blocked her path. Sit down, he said coldly. Maya had never heard that voice from him before. Minutes later, Elliot returned with the tablet, fingers shaking as he opened the file. The recording played. Claire's voice filled the room, smooth and damning. Yes, Daniel. The transfer goes through tomorrow. Gregory thinks I'm visiting my sister. He's too blinded by guilt to see straight. Just like with the money from the safe. Maya closed her eyes. It was all there. Gregory didn't speak. He simply turned, walked to the foyer closet, and retrieved his car keys. Where are you going? Claire demanded, her voice cracking. To call the police. No. She bolted toward him, but Maya stepped in front of her. You should sit down, Mrs. Hamilton, she said softly. The power in the room shifted. For the first time since the nightmare began, Maya was not the one defending herself. She was the witness, the protector, the one who stayed when no one else did. And Claire was now the one who had everything to lose. By dawn, the Hamilton mansion no longer felt like a home, it felt like a crime scene waiting to be confirmed. Gregory hadn't slept. He sat in his study, the same room where it all began, surrounded by silence and papers that suddenly looked meaningless. The safe door was still open, a wound in the wall. The police had been called, but they wouldn't arrive until morning. Maya stood near the doorway, hesitant but unflinching. She had changed out of her uniform, wearing jeans and a light jacket that somehow made her look both fragile and grounded. Her wrist was still bandaged. The bruise on her face left by Gregory's rage the night of the accusation had faded only slightly. Elliot sat curled on the leather couch with his stuffed bear, half asleep but refusing to leave his father's side. His presence was quiet but fierce, like a small anchor keeping the adults from drifting too far into their guilt. When the first knock came, Gregory straightened. That'll be them. Two officers stepped in, a man and a woman, both in dark blue, notebooks ready. They spoke politely but firmly, asking questions, taking photos, recording every detail. Claire, still in her silk robe, stood on the staircase, watching like a caged animal. Her perfect hair was tangled now, her eyes darting, calculating. Mrs. Hamilton, the female officer began. We've been informed of an unauthorized transfer from your husband's account to a Mr. Daniel Hayes. Can you explain this? Claire blinked rapidly. There must be some mistake. Daniel is an associate. I have no idea what transfer you're talking about. The officer didn't react. We'll need access to your phone, ma'am. My phone? Claire's tone turned brittle. You can't just... Gregory stepped in. She'll cooperate. His voice left no room for argument. Maya watched from the corner, silent, her hands clasped in front of her. Every word, every gesture from Claire was another thread unraveling. For years, she had believed the rich always found a way to twist the truth, but not this time. This time, truth had a voice, and it came from a 5-year-old with a tablet. The officers took Claire's phone. The male officer stepped aside, speaking quietly into his radio. Moments later, he nodded toward Gregory. Sir, our system confirms a matching transfer request. Mr. Hayes' account received a pending deposit from your firm, time-stamped last night, 11:40, 2 p.m. Claire's face drained of color. That's impossible, Elliot whispered. It's not. Everyone turned toward him. He slid off the couch, holding his tablet tightly. You can play the recording again if you want. It's all there. Claire's jaw trembled. Gregory, please, she started, her voice breaking into something almost believable. You can't let them take me. You know Daniel, he's manipulative. He forced me into this. Gregory looked at her the way a man might look at a stranger wearing the mask of someone he used to love. No, Claire, you forced yourself. The male officer nodded. Ma'am, you'll need to come with us. The moment the handcuffs clicked, Claire's composure shattered. "You think you've won?" She spat, her voice cracking into fury. "You think she's innocent? You'll regret this, Gregory. You'll see who she really is." Her words hit the air like broken glass, sharp and bitter. The officers guided her out through the front doors, past the marble steps that gleamed under the first rays of dawn. Daniel Hayes would be picked up later that morning. Gregory had already made sure of it. When the car doors closed and the red and blue lights faded into the street, the silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was the silence of exhaustion, of too many truths landing at once. Gregory exhaled slowly, rubbing his forehead. "Maya," she lifted her gaze, "I don't have words big enough for what I owe you, or for what I did to you." She swallowed. "You don't owe me words, Mr. Hamilton. You owe me understanding." He nodded. "You're right." Elliot climbed back onto the couch, curling into Maya's side like he had so many nights before the chaos began. She rested her hand on his hair, the rhythm of his small breaths reminding her that she hadn't imagined his goodness. When the sun rose higher, the house filled with a pale, forgiving light. Gregory turned to Maya again. "You can stay here until things settle," he said. "I'll make sure you're paid for every day you lost." She shook her head. "It's not about money." He hesitated. "Then what is it about?" Maya looked at him, tired but steady. "It's about what you teach your son next, because he's watching everything you do. And someday, when he remembers this, I want him to remember that the truth didn't need permission to exist." Gregory blinked, his throat tightening. "You sound like my father," he murmured. "He used to say something like that about justice, that it's not always loud." "Matt, it doesn't have to be," she said softly. "Sometimes it just whispers through the voices people ignore." Elliot stirred beside her. "Are you going to send her away again, Dad?" Gregory's voice cracked. "No, Son, not again." Maya smiled faintly, but it wasn't victory, it was relief, fragile and human. The kind that comes only after too much has been taken and something small has finally been given back. Hours later, as she packed her bag upstairs, she paused by the window. The city stretched beyond the hills, a patchwork of silver and gold. From here, she could see the life she'd built and lost, and maybe, just maybe, something new waiting to begin. Downstairs, Gregory was on the phone with the police, confirming the arrest at LAX. His tone was clipped, focused, but every few sentences his voice softened when Elliot spoke nearby. Maya glanced at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back wasn't the maid who'd been dragged through the front doors days earlier. She was still bruised, still scared, but she was standing. And that, for now, was enough. As she left the room, she passed Elliot's bedroom. He was sitting on the floor, drawing with crayons. She paused at the door. "What are you making?" she asked. He grinned, shyly. "A picture of us. You, me, and Dad. At the garden. There's sunflowers." Her throat tightened. "Sunflowers?" He nodded. "Because you said they follow the light." She smiled. "They do, sweetheart, even when it's hard to find." He looked up, his eyes shining. "Can you stay until they bloom?" For a moment, the question hung between them, tender and impossible. Maya crouched down, meeting his gaze. "I'll stay until the truth grows roots," she said quietly. "And maybe longer." The next morning, the Hamilton estate was unnaturally still. The maids had been sent home. The kitchen was quiet, no blender humming for morning smoothies, no fresh pastries laid out on silver platters. Just the sound of birds outside the window and the soft shuffle of Elliot's feet as he padded through the hallway in his pajamas. Maya stood in the kitchen, gently scrambling eggs in a cast-iron skillet. She wore her own clothes, simple jeans, a faded t-shirt, and her long braids tied back. The uniform had been folded, put away, no longer defining her place in this house. Gregory entered slowly, rubbing his eyes and tugging at the collar of his crisp white shirt. He looked at Maya like a man unsure of where to begin. You didn't have to cook, he said, voice still raspy with sleep. Maya didn't turn. Someone needed to. I figured you and Elliot could use a real breakfast. He nodded, stepping farther in. That smells real. It is. Farm eggs. Bought them from Rosa's neighbor on the way home last night. Nah. Gregory smiled faintly, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. You slept here? I stayed in the guest room near Elliot's, she said. He didn't want to be alone. I didn't either. Gregory paused. I don't blame you. He moved to pour himself coffee but hesitated before taking a mug. Maya, about yesterday. She raised a hand gently. Don't. He blinked. Don't what? Don't apologize again unless you mean every word of it. And don't try to fix this with money or favors. This isn't about reparations, Mr. Hamilton. It's about responsibility. He looked down, hands tightening on the counter. I understand. No, she said softly. You're learning to. A moment of silence passed before Elliot appeared in the doorway, dragging his blanket and blinking sleepily. When he saw Maya, he brightened. You stayed, he said, voice small but thrilled. She smiled and knelt down. I told you I wouldn't leave. Elliot ran into her arms, burying his face in her shoulder. Gregory watched the moment unfold the bond between them, deeper than any paycheck or contract, something that had survived betrayal and humiliation. Dad, Elliot said over Maya's shoulder, can we go outside later? To the garden? Gregory hesitated. Sure. We can do that. After breakfast, they stepped into the backyard, still damp from the morning dew. The sunlight filtered through the trees, casting golden streaks across the patio. The garden, once neglected under Claire's rule, was overgrown and dry, but full of promise. Maya crouched beside Elliot near a small flower bed. These are sunflower seeds, she said, handing him a packet. You press them about an inch into the soil, like this. She demonstrated, her fingers expertly folding the dirt. Elliot mimicked her, concentrating hard. Will they grow fast? Not fast, she said, but strong. That's better. Oh. Gregory stood a few feet away, watching, uncertain whether he was intruding or participating. You want to help, Mr. Hamilton? Maya called out, not unkindly. He glanced at his loafers, then at the soil. I suppose it's time I learned how to plant something. He knelt beside them, awkward at first, but surprisingly gentle. What made you choose sunflowers, he asked. They follow the sun, Maya said. Even on cloudy days, even when they can't see the light, they still turn toward it. Elliot nodded solemnly. Like you. Gregory swallowed hard. Later, after the seeds were buried and their hands washed, Maya sat on the edge of the patio while Elliot played with his toys nearby. Gregory joined her, keeping a respectful distance. I have a question, he said quietly. She looked at him. Why didn't you fight back? That night, when I yelled at you, why didn't you scream, or run, or... Because I knew it wouldn't matter, she said without bitterness. Not in that moment. Not to people like your guests. Not even to you. He nodded slowly. I hate that you're right. She folded her hands in her lap. I learned a long time ago that truth doesn't always win on volume. Sometimes it wins in silence. In the long run, in what children remember. Gregory exhaled, long and low. I've got a lot of remembering to do. You're not the only one. He looked at her then, really looked. Not as the woman who cleaned his house, not as the accused, but as someone he had wronged deeply. You're not obligated to stay here, he said. You have every right to walk away. No one would blame you. I know. So why are you still here? Maya didn't answer right away. Her eyes drifted toward Elliot, now spinning in circles, laughing in the sunlight. Because of him, she said. Because he deserves a version of this house that isn't built on lies. Gregory nodded, his eyes misting. And what about you? What do you deserve? She paused, then said simply, to not be forgotten, not this time. That evening, word of Claire's arrest began to circulate among the community. Gregory received emails, phone calls, some supportive, others shocked, a few suspicious. Former colleagues wanted explanations. Investors demanded statements, but he said nothing publicly. Not yet. In the hallway, Elliot stood in front of Maya's guest room, holding a folded blanket and a pillow. "You don't have to sleep alone," he said. "You can stay in my room if you want." She smiled. "That's sweet, baby. But I'm okay. I'll leave the door open, though, just in case you need me." He nodded, comforted. "Okay." She closed the door gently behind her. For the first time in days, the room felt like shelter, not exile. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, breathing in the quiet. She had no title in this house anymore. No uniform, no contract. But for the first time, she had power. Not over people, but over her place. She turned off the lamp and lay down. The sound of Elliot's humming from the next room drifting through the hall. Outside, the moon climbed high above Los Angeles, casting silver light across the roof of a mansion that was finally beginning to change. The next few days passed like slow-moving clouds, quiet, unsure, yet shifting. Word of Claire's arrest had spread through the upper circles of Los Angeles society, though no one dared speak of it too publicly. Gregory Hamilton, known for his ruthless business instincts and perfect family image, had become the center of speculation. But inside the house, a different kind of story was unfolding. Maya stood in the laundry room, folding Elliot's tiny t-shirts with the same care she always had. It wasn't her job anymore technically. She wasn't on the payroll, but her hands knew the rhythm. Her heart had never stopped caring. A knock sounded at the doorframe. Gregory leaned against it, holding 2 mugs of coffee. "You still take it black?" he asked. She looked up. "Yes. Thank you." He stepped inside, handing her a mug. "You always did say sugar just covered the truth." She raised an eyebrow. "You remembered that?" "I remember more than I used to." He smiled faintly. "That's what happens when silence has time to speak." They drank in quiet, not tense, not comfortable, just honest. "I spoke with the board this morning," Gregory said. "They want to distance themselves from the scandal. They've asked me to take a leave." Maya studied his face. "Are you going to fight it?" "No," he replied. "For once, I think stepping back is the right thing." She nodded. "It's about time you came home, Mr. Hamilton." He smiled at that. "Gregory," he corrected gently. "Call me Gregory." A moment passed. Then she said it softly. "Gregory." It felt different, not defiant, just earned. That afternoon, Elliot asked to go to the community library downtown. "You said you'd take me," he reminded Maya, holding her hand. "Before the party. Before everything." So they went. Gregory drove, but this time, Maya sat in the front seat beside him. No divider, no barrier. Just the 3 of them, quiet music on the radio. Elliot in the back, humming to a melody only he could hear. The library was old, one of the few left in the city that hadn't been remodeled into a sterile, white-walled tech space. This one had history. Wooden beams, tall shelves, and the faint, comforting scent of paper and polish. As they browsed, Elliot wandered into the children's section, a book clutched to his chest. Gregory and Maya found a bench beneath a window. "I used to come here," Gregory said, "before the money, before I had to pretend I had all the answers." Maya turned to him. "And did you?" "No," he said, "but I learned how to look like I did." Maya watched a father reading to his daughter nearby. "You're doing better now," she said. "I don't know what I'm doing," he confessed. "But I'm listening. That's new for me." Their eyes met. For a moment, something passed between them, not romance, not yet, but trust rebuilding brick by brick. Suddenly, Elliot called out, waving a book. "It's about sunflowers," he beamed, "and how they always look for the light." "Dawn?" Gregory laughed. "Your favorite." Maya knelt beside him. "Want to borrow it?" Elliot nodded eagerly. At the checkout desk, the librarian smiled. "He's a sweet boy." Maya smiled back. "He is. You two make a lovely family." Gregory stepped forward, hesitated, then said simply, "Thank you." It wasn't meant as a statement, but it felt like one. On the ride home, Elliot fell asleep in the back seat, the book clutched tight in his arms. Gregory glanced at Maya. "You're not just someone who was wronged," he said. "You're someone who's still here." "I'm not going anywhere," she replied quietly. "Not until Elliot's safe." Really safe. Gregory drove on, thinking. That night, after Elliot was tucked into bed, Maya stepped out into the garden. The moon lit the patch where they had planted sunflowers. She ran her fingers over the soil. Still damp, still soft. She heard footsteps behind her. Gregory joined her, jacket draped over one arm. "I had a lawyer draft a statement today," he said. "I'm going public about the money, about Claire, and about you." Maya turned, startled. "Why?" "Because people need to know what I did, what she did, and how you were treated." "That's risky." "It's necessary." She watched him for a long moment. "What will it change?" He met her eyes. "Maybe nothing, or maybe everything. But I can't claim to protect the truth inside this house and ignore it outside." Her gaze softened. "Then say what matters, not just what sounds good." He nodded. "I will." A breeze rustled the garden leaves. Gregory looked down at the soil. "When those sunflowers grow," he said, "I want Elliot to remember that this was the moment things began to change. Not just for him, for all of us." Maya stepped closer to the flowers. "Then let's make sure we water them. Every day." He smiled. "Deal." They stood in silence, shoulder to shoulder, watching the soil sleep. Inside, Elliot dreamed of tall golden flowers and the woman who never left. It began with a headline. "Hamilton exposes fraud inside his own home, exonerates former employee." Then came the article. Then the interviews. By Tuesday morning, Gregory's public statement had gone viral. He'd released it through his company's press office, accompanied by a solemn video where he stood alone, no tailored suit, no expensive backdrop, just a man in a plain shirt, his sleeves rolled up, speaking into the camera. He told the truth. Not just the facts, but the failures. How he'd misjudged. How he let prejudice, pressure, and pride blind him. How Maya Williams, a woman entrusted with caring for his child, had been wrongfully accused and publicly humiliated, and how he, the man with the most power in that house, had said nothing when it mattered. Maya watched the video from her phone on the back patio. Elliot curled beside her, sipping a juice box. She didn't cry. Not yet. But the knot in her chest tight since the day she was dragged through the marble floors of that house began to loosen. Gregory came out later with a paper bag from her favorite diner. No words. Just placed it gently on the table and sat beside her. She opened it. A fried chicken sandwich. Seasoned greens, sweet tea, just how she liked it. "That's one way to say sorry," she said softly. He offered a small smile. "I figured I should start speaking your language." They ate in silence for a while, Elliot kicking his feet and reading his sunflower book again for the 4th time that day. "So what happens now?" Maya asked. Gregory leaned back. "The board split. Some support me. Others think I've lost my edge." "And have you?" He thought about that. "No. I've just learned where to aim it." Later that day, Maya got a call. It was from the principal of a private school in Westwood. "We heard what happened," the woman said. "We saw the video. If you're looking for employment, we have a position, early education support, with emphasis on children with special needs. Someone like you would be invaluable." Maya didn't answer right away. Her mind was still reeling. When she finally hung up, Elliot was at the kitchen table coloring. She sat beside him, staring at the phone in her hands. "Good news?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Maybe." Gregory stepped into the room. "Was that a job offer?" "Yes," she said. "A good one." He folded his arms. "So, are you going to take it?" Maya looked over at Elliot, then back at Gregory. "I don't know. Man." That night, she couldn't sleep. She walked the halls of the Hamilton estate, memories pressing into her like fingerprints on glass. The room where she'd been accused still held its shadows. The stairs where Elliot had spoken his truth still echoed. The kitchen, the laundry, the garden, every inch of this house had held her story, her scars, but for the first time, it also held her strength. She stood in front of the mirror in the guest room, brushing her braids back, staring at her own eyes. She wasn't invisible anymore. She wasn't just the help. The next morning, she packed a small overnight bag and headed downstairs. Gregory was already dressed, sipping his coffee at the kitchen counter. "You're leaving?" he asked. "Just for a few days," she said. "To think." He nodded. "You need space. I need clarity." Gregory stepped forward. "Maya, if I said I wanted you to stay not just for Elliot, but for this house, for this family, what would you say?" "I'd say that's a nice offer," she replied carefully. "But I can't make decisions out of guilt or comfort. Not anymore." He accepted that. "Fair." Elliot came running down the stairs. "You're going?" "For a few days." Maya knelt to hug him. "But I'll call. And you'll keep watering the sunflowers, okay?" "I'll take care of them," he promised. "Just like you take care of me." Her heart cracked a little at that. When she walked out the front door, the air felt different. Not like goodbye. More like, "We'll see." She drove to her aunt's house in Pasadena, a quiet place with hydrangeas lining the porch and a chipped mailbox that had never been fixed. Her aunt wrapped her in a hug and fed her homemade gumbo. The silence there was peaceful, not tense. And in that stillness, Maya thought about what came next. The school, the house, Elliot, herself. What did she want? What did she deserve? Back at the Hamilton estate, Gregory stood in the garden. Elliot was showing him how to plant basil. The boy's hands were dirty, his smile wide. "Dad," he said suddenly, "do people ever come back when they leave?" Gregory looked toward the gate. "Sometimes," he said, "when it's the right reason." "Do you think Maya will come back?" Gregory knelt down. "I hope so, but whether she does or not, we're better because of her." Elliot nodded solemnly, and then he said something Gregory wouldn't forget. "She's not just the light, Dad. She's the one who made us turn toward it." Gregory swallowed hard, then pulled his son close. That night, Gregory sat alone at his desk, writing an email. To Maya Williams. Subject, open door. No pressure, no expectation, just letting you know the door's open. For work, for family, or for nothing at all. You're not obligated to fix what others broke, but if you choose to come back, this house will never treat you like a shadow again. He didn't press send. Not yet. He would wait for her light, just like the sunflowers. 3 days passed. The Hamilton estate felt like it was holding its breath. Gregory paced the hallway outside Elliot's room, checking his phone more than necessary, glancing at every buzz as if Maya's name might finally appear. It didn't. Not yet. Downstairs, Elliot had been quieter than usual. No tantrums. No stubborn silences either. Just a kind of stillness that didn't match his age. He missed her. And Gregory, though less willing to say it aloud, did too. On the third night, Elliot refused to eat dinner. "She's not coming back," he mumbled into his plate of untouched mac and cheese. Gregory set his fork down. "She said she needed time. She said she'd call." Gregory nodded slowly, understanding the weight of those words. Later, after Elliot had finally fallen asleep with the sunflower book under his pillow, Gregory stood in the garden. The sunflowers hadn't sprouted yet. Just dark soil, rows of silent promise. He knelt down and touched the earth, wondering how long hope was supposed to take. Just then, headlights swept across the driveway. His heart skipped. He turned. The car door opened. Maya stepped out slowly, holding nothing but a canvas bag and a cautious expression. Gregory didn't move, didn't speak. He let the moment settle. "I couldn't sleep," she said. "Not at my aunt's, not anywhere else." He stood up, brushing soil from his hands. "You don't have to explain. I'm not here for closure," she added. "I'm here because I made a decision." Gregory waited. "I took the job at the school," she said. "Part-time, for now." "That's good," he said, trying to hide his disappointment. "They're lucky." She stepped closer. "But I'm also moving back here. Temporarily. For Elliot." His brows lifted. "Temporarily? I want boundaries this time," she said. "Clear ones. Not as your maid, not as your employee, just as someone who cares about your son." Gregory nodded. "Understood. And," she added, "I'll pay rent, even if you don't cash the checks." A small smile played on his lips. "You're serious?" "I always was." They stood there a while longer, under the soft glow of porch lights. Then Gregory said quietly, "Elliot will be so happy." I'm doing it for him," she said, "but not only for him." He looked at her, puzzled. She continued, "I've spent most of my life waiting for doors to open, for people to decide I was worth trusting, worth keeping. I won't do that anymore. I walked through this one because I chose to." Gregory felt something shift inside him. She wasn't coming back to reclaim anything. She was arriving on her own terms. He stepped aside and opened the door. "Welcome home, Maya." "Zero." She gave him a look steady, a little sad, but stronger than before. "It's not home. Not yet. But maybe it will be." The next morning, Elliot woke to the sound of humming in the kitchen. He ran out, still in his pajamas, barefoot on the tile. "Maya." She turned around just in time to catch him mid-jump, his arms flung around her neck. "You came back." She hugged him tight. "I missed you, kiddo." "I knew you would," he said into her shoulder. "I told Dad the sunflowers needed you." "No." She laughed softly. "Well, they were starting to look a little thirsty." Gregory watched from the hallway, coffee in hand, letting the warmth of their reunion melt the last of the frost in his chest. He didn't interrupt. Later that afternoon, they all returned to the garden. Maya, in gloves, gently checked the soil. Elliot watered the rows. Gregory shoveled compost. Awkward but trying. "You're going to overwater them," Maya teased as Elliot emptied half a watering can into one spot. "I want them to grow faster." "That's not how it works," she smiled. "You give them what they need, then you wait. No rushing." Gregory looked up from where he knelt. "Sounds like life." "Exactly like life," Maya said. "Messy, slow, but full of surprises." Elliot tugged at her sleeve. "Can we plant more?" "Like what?" He pointed. "Roses, and lavender, and that one plant that smells like gum." Gregory laughed. "You mean mint?" "Yeah, mint." They agreed. A new section would be dug. More seeds, more soil. As the sun dipped low, casting golden light across their backs, Maya looked at them both and felt something unexpected. Peace. Not perfection. Not resolution. But peace, the kind that comes after you've survived a storm and found ground firm enough to start again. Inside, the house was quiet again. But this time, it wasn't from tension. It was from healing. The days that followed felt like stepping into a new rhythm, a quieter one, the kind where people spoke softer, moved slower, and paused long enough to notice things they'd once ignored. The chirping of birds on the windowsill, the creak of old wood in the hallways, the way sunlight poured through the kitchen window at 9 a.m. sharp. Maya had set clear boundaries, and everyone respected them. She wasn't wearing a uniform anymore. She wasn't reporting to anyone. She did the school drop-offs and pickups for Elliot, helped him with his reading, and occasionally joined Gregory for tea on the patio, always at her pace. That morning, Elliot stood by the front door, nervously fidgeting with the buttons on his little shirt. "What's wrong, baby?" Maya asked, crouching beside him. "I don't want to go to school," he whispered. "What if someone makes fun of you, like before?" She blinked, caught off guard. "Why would they do that?" "Because of what happened," he said. "Because of the news and the video. What if their parents say bad stuff?" Maya's chest tightened. This boy, barely 5, already worried about the world's judgment. She gently took his hands. "You know what people said about Dr. King?" He nodded slowly. "He was brave, and some of them didn't like him because of that," she said. "But the truth? Brave people make quiet people braver. You and I, we don't let someone else's fear tell us who we are." Elliot bit his lip, then nodded. "Okay, I'll be brave too." She kissed his forehead. "That's my boy." After the drop-off, Gregory joined her at a small cafe on the edge of Laurel Canyon, a quiet place with strong coffee and even stronger opinions posted on the chalkboard menu. "I saw the photos of you and Elliot in the garden," a woman behind the counter said, smiling as she handed over Maya's order. "That boy adores you." "May, thank you," Maya said, surprised by the kindness. She wasn't used to strangers recognizing her for the right reasons. Gregory sat across from her, stirring his coffee. "I got a call from the foundation," he said. Maya raised an eyebrow. "They want to rename their children's arts scholarship after Elliot." She paused. "Seriously?" He nodded. "Apparently, people were moved by what he did, by what he said. They want to create a program that promotes empathy and early expression in kids. Something that encourages listening to children even when it's uncomfortable." Maya smiled, genuinely this time. "That's beautiful. They asked if you'd be willing to speak at the launch event." Her expression shifted. "Me? You're the reason it exists. You and Elliot." She took a slow sip of her tea, thinking, "I'm not sure the world wants to hear from someone like me." Gregory leaned forward. "That's exactly why they should." Friend. Later that afternoon, Maya returned to the house and found Elliot painting in the garden. He had sunflowers, clouds, and a giant yellow circle for the Sunday. But something new caught her eye, a small figure, standing between the flowers. "Who's that?" she asked, kneeling beside him. "You," he said simply. "And what am I doing?" "You're showing them how to grow." She swallowed the lump in her throat. The next evening, Gregory hosted a small gathering at the estate. Just close friends, a few colleagues, and board members, nothing extravagant. He wanted to formally acknowledge what had happened and what he hoped would come next. Maya agreed to be there, not to be displayed, not to be pitied, but to be seen. She wore a simple navy dress and a silver pendant her mother had left her. She stood tall, unflinching, as Gregory raised a glass in the garden and spoke. "There are moments in life when silence protects us, and others when it betrays us. I stood silent when I should have spoken, and in that silence, I let injustice grow." He turned to Maya, but not everyone did. Maya Williams reminded me what integrity looks like, what patience, dignity, and truth sound like. When the world tries to shout them down, she reminded me that justice doesn't always arrive on time, but when it does, it carries the voice of someone who refused to disappear. Maya didn't cry, but she held her head higher. After the applause, an older woman approached her quietly. She wore a vintage brooch and had the kind of eyes that had seen far too much. "I was a maid once," she said, "in Virginia, back when we weren't allowed to speak back. I saw what you did, what you endured. You made us proud." Maya squeezed her hand. "Thank you." That night, long after the guests had left, Maya sat in the garden alone. The sunflowers had started to peek from the soil, tiny green shoots reaching up like questions. Gregory joined her, barefoot, a bottle of wine in one hand. "Didn't think you'd still be out here," he said. "Sunflowers grow at night too," she replied. "You just can't see it." He poured her a glass and sat beside her in the dark. They didn't speak for a while. When he finally broke the silence, it wasn't with apology or explanation. "I see you now," he said. Maya looked over. "And I hear you," he added. even when you're not speaking. No. She took a sip of wine, let the words hang in the air. Then maybe, she said softly, there's hope for this house after all. He nodded. Maybe there's hope for me. Sunday morning came with the smell of cinnamon and something almost forgotten ease. Gregory stood barefoot in the kitchen, trying and mostly failing to flip pancakes. Elliot sat at the counter, still in his superhero pajamas, holding a whisk like a sword. Maya leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching the chaos with an amused smile. I think you're supposed to wait for the bubbles before you flip it, she said, stepping forward. Gregory looked up. I'm following instinct. You're following a disaster, she replied, taking the spatula from his hand with the gentle confidence of someone who'd been running kitchens long before anyone trusted her to. Elliot laughed. Daddy made one that looks like California. Mally. That's generous, Maya smirked. I was going to say it looks like a burn notice. They laughed together, not cautiously, not politely, but with comfort, like it had always been this way. As they ate at the kitchen table, Gregory's lopsided pancakes mixed with Maya's perfect ones, the air felt full again. Not crowded, just right. I want to take you both somewhere, Gregory said between bites. Maya looked up. Where? It's a surprise, he said, but it'll be good for all of us. An hour later, they were in the car. Gregory drove. Elliot chattered in the back seat, and Maya watched the city unfold through the passenger window. It was strange how the same streets could look different when you weren't surviving them. He took them to a small neighborhood on the east side. Quiet, unassuming, but filled with soul mural-covered walls, old jazz clubs, children playing ball in the street. They parked outside a modest brick building with a weathered sign, Wilkins Community Arts Center. Maya raised an eyebrow. Gregory, what is this? This place is where my mother used to volunteer, he said. Before the company. Before the money. She taught art classes here. When I was a kid, she brought me every week. Said it kept her sane. Elliot looked around, curious. Are there paintings? More than that, Gregory said, leading them inside. The center smelled like paint and old linoleum. Inside, a group of children were painting on easels while an elderly man played jazz piano in the corner. A woman greeted them warmly, shaking Maya's hand like she already knew her name. Gregory told us everything, she said. Told us how you helped his boy. We were hoping maybe you'd be interested in helping our kids too. Maya blinked. Me? You work with children. You're patient. You listen. That's gold in a place like this. No, Gregory added softly. They need someone who can see kids the way you saw Elliot. Maya walked slowly through the space, pausing to admire a little girl's painting of her grandmother. It wasn't a grand offer. It wasn't flashy. It was real. On the way back, Elliot fell asleep in the back seat, head leaning against his car seat, sunflower book clutched to his chest. Gregory spoke without turning. I meant what I said. I want this to be more than a house with echoes. No. Maya kept her eyes on the road ahead. It's becoming something, slowly. I don't want temporary anymore, he said. I want you to feel like this is your home, in whatever way you define it. She didn't answer right away. I don't need a mansion, she said at last. I need a place where I'm not questioned every time I speak, where I'm not seen as less because of my name or my skin, where a child can say what's true and not be silenced. Gregory's grip on the wheel tightened slightly. I'm trying to make that place. For you, for Elliot, for all of us. And I see that, Maya replied gently. But it's not a switch you flip. It's a garden. You plant. You water. You wait. He smiled at that. You always come back to the garden. Because it's honest, she said. It tells you exactly how much you've neglected it. When they returned to the estate, Maya stood for a long time outside the garden patch. The sunflowers had grown taller, still young, but standing. Resilient. She turned to Gregory. If I take that job at the center, It's not just a side thing, it's a life. I know, and I won't live here as a guest anymore. He stepped closer. Then don't. She studied him. Are you saying you want me to stay? Or that you want to build something with me? He didn't hesitate. The second. Maya nodded slowly. Then we start with honesty. Every day. Gregory extended his hand. Deal. She shook it firm. And breakfast is my job from now on. He laughed. Gladly. Inside, Elliot stirred from his nap, rubbing his eyes. Did I miss anything? He mumbled. Maya scooped him into her arms. Just some planting. And maybe a little bit of growing too. The first Monday Maya walked into the Wilkins Community Arts Center as an official staff member, the world felt lighter. No mansion walls. No uniform. No watchful eyes. Just children with messy hands, squeaky sneakers, and stories written in paint, clay, and crayons. She wore jeans, sneakers, and a loose blouse patterned with sunflowers Elliot had insisted. For luck, he'd whispered that morning, slipping one of his plastic sunflower pins into her bag. Put it on when you get nervous, he said, like magic armor. It worked. The kids were curious at first, then comfortable. Maya had that effect. She didn't talk down to them. She didn't talk over them. She simply listened. Draw what your dreams look like, she told a group of 8-year-olds. One boy drew a treehouse. One girl drew her father coming home from prison. Another scribbled what looked like a cat riding a rocket ship. Dream big, Maya said with a smile. Even if it's loud, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone but you. Back at the Hamilton estate, Gregory walked through the garden, phone in hand. He was trying to multitask field investor calls, board emails, and Elliot's school lunch, all while preparing to meet with a nonprofit director. But something pulled his eyes to the patch of sunflowers. They were taller now, standing proud. He crouched beside them, brushing dirt away from a sprouting mint plant Elliot had buried. Just for the bees. It reminded him of Maya, how she had taught them all to look closer, to tend what others forgot. He texted her a photo of the garden. Sunflowers reaching for the sky today. Thought you'd want to know. She responded a minute later, just like Elliot. Keep watering. I'll bring him home by 5. That evening, Maya and Elliot returned with paint smudges and wide smiles. Guess what? Elliot blurted as they entered the kitchen. Gregory looked up from his laptop. What? I helped paint a mural. Miss Brenda said it's going to be on the outside wall of the center. That's amazing, Gregory said, closing his screen. What's it of? People holding hands around a big heart, and sunflowers. Maya said it was my idea, but she made it look beautiful. Nah. Maya blushed slightly. I may have added some structure. You added magic, Elliot said proudly. They had dinner together, nothing fancy, just grilled chicken, roasted potatoes, and corn on the cob. Maya ate slowly, savoring not just the food, but the atmosphere. Casual laughter, passing plates, no tension in the air. Gregory brought out a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses after Elliot had gone to bed. To new starts, he said, raising his glass. To earned peace, she replied, clinking hers to his. There was something different in the way they looked at each other now, not tentative, not unsure. Still cautious, but steady. Rooted. Later that night, Maya stood by the window in her room, no longer the guest room, but her room. She looked out at the garden. The sky was clear. Stars stretched like thread across velvet. And something inside her finally, truly settled. She thought of her mother, how she had cleaned houses her whole life, how she'd once said, "Baby, there will come a day when someone opens a door you own. Until then, keep your hands clean and your head higher." Maya smiled. That door hadn't come yet, but now she had the keys. Downstairs, Gregory sat at his desk, scrolling through headlines. The media was still circling Claire's upcoming trial, investor reactions, non-profit collaborations, but for once, he wasn't chasing the narrative. He was building one. He opened a new document and typed, "The story behind the sunflowers." Not a press release, not a legal statement, just the truth. Maybe someday it would become a speech, or a chapter, or a bedtime story. But tonight, it was just a man trying to get the truth right. He saved the file, then sent one final message to Maya. "Tomorrow's garden duty is yours. Elliot says the mint needs singing to. Apparently, it won't grow unless it hears jazz." She replied 2 minutes later, "Deal, but only if you learn to flip pancakes first." He smiled. Outside, the moon rose higher over the Hamilton estate. The house was different now, still large, still full of history, but not just walls and rooms. It was a place where a woman had planted dignity, and a man had chosen to grow, and a little boy with a sunflower pin had taught them both how to bloom. The mural went up on a Saturday. It was early morning when Maya arrived at the Wilkins Community Arts Center, wearing overalls splattered with old paint and a headscarf tied at the nape of her neck. She carried 2 large thermoses coffee in one hand, sweet tea in the other, and a heart full of something new, pride without apology. Children gathered with chalk and brushes, while community volunteers rolled out ladders and laid drop cloths. There was laughter, chaos, and the smell of fried dough from the food truck parked nearby. Maya moved through it all like a conductor, steady, present, lifting others without needing the spotlight. Gregory arrived an hour later, Elliot in tow, both wearing Support the Arts t-shirts. Maya had sneakily ordered online. Gregory looked out of place among the denim jackets and jazz tunes, but he smiled more easily now, the kind of smile that came from no longer hiding. Elliot ran up to Maya immediately. "We brought donuts." "Then I forgive you for being late," she teased, ruffling his curls. He handed her a glazed one. "This one's for you. It has sprinkles. You like sprinkles, right?" She winked. "Love them." By noon, the wall was alive with color. The design, Elliot's vision with Maya's artistic hand, took shape. Children of all colors and ages joined hands around a large red heart. Sunflowers bloomed at their feet. Over the heart, in big sweeping letters, read, "Grow loud, grow free." The phrase had come from something Maya had once whispered to Elliot when he struggled to speak at school. He remembered. So did she. The unveiling drew a small crowd, families, local leaders, teachers, even a few news outlets. A councilwoman took the mic, praising the message and the mural's meaning. Then she turned to Maya. "We'd like to recognize the woman behind the art," she said. "Maya Williams, your work has not only helped this community grow, but reminded us all that healing begins when someone dares to be seen." Applause filled the lot. Maya stepped forward, cheeks flushed. "I'm not much for speeches," she began, "but I'll say this: I spent a long time in silence, in corners, in kitchens, in rooms where my presence was needed but my voice wasn't." She paused. "I don't want pity. I want possibility for every child who's misunderstood, for every woman called too much or not enough. What you see behind me is what happens when we stop waiting to be invited and start planting our own space. Thank you for letting me do that here." The claps that followed weren't just loud, they were long. Gregory stood beside Elliot, who clapped with small but fierce hands. "She's magic," Elliot whispered. Gregory nodded. "She really is." No. That evening, back at the house, Maya found a package waiting on her bed. No note, just a small box wrapped in brown paper. Inside was a vintage sunflower brooch, gold and enamel, the kind you'd find in a grandmother's jewelry drawer. Beneath it, a handwritten card in Gregory's neat print, "For when your armor needs to shine." She traced her thumb over the petals and smiled. Later, they sat on the back patio under string lights Gregory had finally remembered to install at Maya's not-so-subtle suggestion. The garden hummed with crickets, fresh mint, and the deep piece of work well done. Elliot had fallen asleep in Maya's lap, his head heavy, fingers curled into her shirt. Gregory sipped his wine and watched them both. "Today felt different," he said. Maya looked down at the sleeping boy. It wasn't just about the mural, he added. It was about claiming something. For all of us. She nodded. Healing doesn't ask for permission. Gregory turned toward her. "I've been thinking about the house. About everything that's changed since you walked back through that door. And I want to make it official." She raised an eyebrow. "Official how?" "I want to start a foundation," he said. "In your name." "Well, our names. For children like Elliot. For women like you. For those who are pushed to the margins but never lose their light." Maya blinked, taken aback. "You mean, with actual money?" He grinned. "With actual money, yes. A lot of it." She laughed, soft and startled. "Gregory, you showed me what matters," he said simply. "Now I want to make sure the world hears it louder." She leaned back in her chair, looking up at the stars. "You know what my mother would have said?" she murmured. "What?" She'd say, "You can't undo silence with a checkbook, but it's a good start." He raised his glass. "Then here's to good starts." They toasted beneath the stars, the hum of the garden echoing around them. The house wasn't perfect. The world wasn't either. But a boy had found his voice. A woman had claimed her space. And a man had decided to build a future worth apologizing less for. And that night, the sunflowers bloomed just a little taller. Summer leaned in early that year. By the end of May, the heat had begun its slow crawl across Los Angeles, and the garden behind the Hamilton estate erupted in color, sunflowers tall and golden, mint thick along the edges, and lavender so fragrant it lingered on your skin like a whisper. Elliot had taken to waking up early, dragging his little watering can outside before breakfast, humming songs Maya taught him from her childhood. On that particular morning, Gregory joined him, sleeves rolled up, coffee in one hand, hose in the other. "I think this one's thirsty," Elliot said, pointing to a wilting tomato plant. "Or maybe it just needs better company," Gregory replied with a grin, watering it gently. Inside, Maya stood in the kitchen, phone pressed between shoulder and ear, her fingers flipping through notes on the counter. "Yes, I'm still interested," she said, her voice calm but direct. "But I want final say on the curriculum, and I want 2 scholarships set aside every semester, no exceptions." The woman on the other end hesitated, then agreed. Maya hung up, exhaled, and turned to the window. The community center had asked her to head their new creative confidence program, art therapy combined with emotional development, for kids like Elliot, for kids who never got a proper space to speak without being silenced. Gregory stepped inside just as she poured herself coffee. "Another job offer?" "More like an expansion," she said. "They want me to lead a program, full-time, full autonomy, with a budget." He raised his eyebrows. "Sounds like they finally figured out your worth. They figured out I wouldn't do it for free." He smiled. Even better. Their mornings had become like this, easy, rhythmic, stitched with mutual respect. No longer tangled in misunderstanding or old wounds. Just 2 adults figuring out what partnership really meant when the fog of guilt cleared. Later that day, they went together to visit Claire in jail. Maya hadn't planned to go. Hadn't even told Gregory she was thinking about it. But something inside her needed to face it. Face her not for closure, but for control. This time, the narrative would be hers. The visiting room was cold, painted in government grays and greens. Claire looked thinner, her hair pulled back, her expensive glow replaced by something tighter, more restless. When she saw Maya, her eyes flickered with surprise, then narrowed. "What, you come to gloat?" Claire said, sitting across the scratched table. "No," Maya replied calmly. "I came to remember how small you really are." Claire scoffed. "Enjoy your little pity parade. It won't last. People like me, we always land on our feet. And people like me," Maya said softly, "we build the ground." "No," Gregory said nothing. He let Maya speak. He understood this was her moment. Claire leaned forward, eyes sharp. You think you're better than me now? Maya didn't flinch. No, I always was. The difference is now you know it too. She stood to leave. Gregory followed. Neither looked back. Outside, the air felt lighter again, like they'd shaken off the last of the rot. You okay? Gregory asked. I'm not angry anymore, she said. I'm just clear. Nah. Want to talk about it? Not yet, Maya said, a small smile tugging at her lips. But I will. Someday, when it doesn't taste like ashes. Back at the estate, Elliot greeted them at the door with sticky fingers and a mouthful of strawberries. I made something, he shouted, tugging Maya toward the garden. There, on the wooden fence bordering the sunflower patch, was a crude but heartfelt painting. A stick figure family, one tall, one medium, and one small, all holding hands under a sky filled with yellow stars and a huge red heart. He had even labeled them Dad, Me, and in neat capital letters, Maya. Maya knelt beside him. What's this for, sweet pea? He shrugged. He don't know, just felt true. Gregory stepped forward, emotion catching in his throat. It's perfect, he whispered. That night, Maya sat alone on the porch, brooch pinned to her shirt, tea in hand. She watched the breeze move through the sunflowers like a lullaby. The house behind her no longer loomed, it lived. Gregory joined her, handing over a small folder. What's this? The first draft, he said, for the Hamilton Williams Foundation. She opened it slowly, eyes scanning the page. Education, art therapy, legal advocacy, programs for women re-entering the workforce, scholarships for young black girls in underserved communities. Maya looked up. You put my name first. It's alphabetical, he joked. She laughed softly. No, it's respect, and I see it. He sat beside her, their shoulders brushing lightly. I don't want you to build under my name, he said. I want to build something with yours. She reached over, took his hand. Then let's plant it right. The porch light flickered above them. The garden rustled, and inside, a little boy dreamed of murals and mint leaves and a world where truth could be spoken and heard. The official announcement came in June. The Hamilton Williams Foundation, a partnership that sent ripples through the local press and philanthropic circles. The headline surprised many. A tech mogul joining forces with a former domestic worker to create systemic change. But for those who knew the story behind the story, it made perfect sense. The launch event was set for the following week, and for the first time in her life, Maya stood center stage, not to clean it, not to serve food near it, but to speak from it. She stared at the dress hanging by her closet door. It was simple, sleek black with soft yellow embroidery along the hem, subtle sunflowers, a nod to a boy who taught her to stay rooted, and a symbol of who she had become. Not delicate, not ornamental, but durable. Elliot peeked into the room, holding a card. It's from school, he said. My class made it for you. Maya opened the envelope carefully. Inside were drawings and shaky words. You're brave. You made us strong. We like your stories. And one in bold crayon that said, You made the world look at us. She blinked away tears. Think they'll let me bring this on stage? She joked. You should, Elliot nodded. It's better than any trophy. That night, Gregory rehearsed his own speech downstairs. His nerves were hidden under charm, but Maya saw them in the way he kept straightening his tie in the hallway mirror. You're going to be fine, she said, leaning against the doorframe. I'm not worried about the crowd. She smiled. Then what? I'm worried about getting it right, about not sounding like a man trying to erase his mistakes with a checkbook. Maya stepped closer. You're not. You're a man trying to use his voice after realizing silence was a kind of violence. He looked at her, eyes softening. Will you stand with me? Always. The launch event was held at the Wilkins Community Arts Center, intentionally not a ballroom, not a hotel, but the very soil where this journey had begun. There were folding chairs and paper programs. A food truck outside served barbecue and sweet tea. Kids played in the background, drawing with chalk on the sidewalk. It wasn't grand. It was real. Maya sat beside Gregory and Elliot in the front row as the local mayor stepped up first to speak. What this foundation represents, the mayor said, isn't just partnership. It's repair. And the courage to let those once silenced now set the terms. Applause followed. When Maya was called up, the crowd hushed. She stood behind the wooden podium, hand resting lightly on the edge, sunlight streaking through the window onto her face. "I never thought I'd be here," she began. "And I don't just mean this podium. I mean a place where I could speak and know that someone was listening." She paused. "I've been a maid, a teacher, a girl hiding in corners, and a woman no one believed. I've also been a comforter to a child no one understood, and a witness to the kind of injustice people whisper about but rarely challenge." The room was silent, leaning in. This foundation is not a gift. It is a responsibility. A way to ensure that what happened to me, and so many like me, doesn't get erased. It's about giving kids like Elliot, and women like me, a place to plant something true. And then, watch it grow. She stepped back to standing ovation. Gregory joined her at the podium, his speech shorter, steadier. "I'm here today not because I have answers, but because I learned to listen. And I want to build the kind of world my son deserves to grow up in. A world where the help isn't seen as invisible, where truth isn't punished, and where power means using your voice to lift others, not bury them." He looked at Maya, then the audience. "This isn't redemption, this is accountability. And it's just the beginning." That evening, back at the estate, Elliot fell asleep in the car on the way home, holding Maya's crayon card like a prize. Gregory carried him upstairs, tucked him in, and returned to the patio where Maya sat barefoot, sipping tea in her sunflower robe. "No reporters," she said with mock relief. "No microphones, just crickets and moonlight." He smiled. They sat in silence for a few beats. Then he turned to her, voice low. "Do you ever miss it?" "What?" "The before, when things were simpler." She thought for a moment. "No," she said, "because it was only simple for you." Gregory nodded, accepting the truth of that. Maya added, "But I do miss who I was before the world tried to make me forget her." He looked at her closely. "You found her again?" She smiled. "No, we did. Inside, the house was quiet but not empty. Tomorrow there would be board meetings, foundation logistics, school drop-offs, maybe even tantrums over broccoli. But tonight, there was peace. And sunflowers. Always sunflowers. Summer deepened. The kind of summer where the heat hums against window panes and even time seems to slow down. Inside the Hamilton estate, life no longer echoed with cold formality. There was music now, sometimes Miles Davis from Gregory's vinyl collection, sometimes Elliot's laughter bouncing down the stairs, sometimes Maya humming old hymns while folding laundry she insisted on doing herself. They were no longer strangers under the same roof. They were something closer to a family, though none of them dared speak it aloud just yet. The word was still tender, still new. That afternoon, Maya picked Elliot up early from day camp. His counselor had called, mentioning that he had been quiet all morning, not withdrawn, just thoughtful. In the car, Maya glanced at him through the rearview mirror. "Everything okay, little man?" He nodded, then hesitated. "Can I ask you something weird?" "Always." He leaned forward a little. "Was Claire ever nice?" "Before?" Maya blinked. The question was a stone dropped into calm water. "She wasn't always cruel," Maya said carefully. "But being kind for a minute doesn't erase the harm someone causes after. Did you ever want to hurt her back?" Maya pulled into the driveway, shifted the car into park, and turned to face him fully. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but hurting someone doesn't fix what they did to you. It just means they keep taking parts of you." Elliot was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "So, did you forgive her?" I'm still working on that, Maya said. Forgiveness isn't a gift we give them. It's a door we open for ourselves, when we're ready. He looked down at the small sunflower pin on his shirt. I think I want to forgive her, because I don't want to be scared of her anymore. Maya reached over and gently touched his hand. That's the bravest kind of forgiveness, Elliot. Inside the house, Gregory was in his office, scanning through pages of the Foundation's latest quarterly plan. Since the launch, they'd already awarded their first round of community grants and were in talks with the school district to expand Maya's arts program citywide. But he paused when he heard the door open. Elliot raced in, hugged his father tightly, and whispered, I asked Maya about Claire. Gregory's eyes met Maya's over his son's shoulder. You okay? She nodded. He's working through it. So am I. Later that evening, Maya stepped into the guest house behind the estate, once a forgotten space, now her quiet retreat. She had started using it as a personal studio. Paintings leaned against the walls, sketches taped to windows, a large canvas half-finished in the center of the room. It was a portrait, not of any one person, but a collection of faces, women, children, eyes wide and tired and powerful, a sunflower in each background. It was becoming her visual memoir. Gregory knocked once before entering. Didn't want to interrupt the muse. She's on a coffee break, Maya said, setting down her brush. He looked around, quietly awed. You know, when I built this space, I thought I'd use it for meetings, some quiet place to talk deals. It's a good thing you're better at foundations than architecture, she teased. He grinned. Fair. Then, more seriously, he asked, Do you think this us is working? Maya met his gaze. You mean the foundation? I mean all of it. This house. You and me. Elliot. The world we're building. She walked over, placed her hands gently on his chest. It's not perfect. Some days I still wake up bracing for something to go wrong. Me too, he said. But the difference now, she continued, is that we talk, we repair, we protect what matters. That's more than I ever expected. Gregory leaned in, resting his forehead against hers. Then let's keep going. They stood like that for a while, silent, grounded, unafraid. A few days later, they held the Foundation's first story day at the community center. The idea had been Maya's. Gather children, families, and elders to share stories across generations about resilience, identity, and memory. There was a girl who read a poem about her father being deported, a grandmother who sang the lullaby she'd learned while picking cotton in Alabama, a boy who spoke, for the first time in public, about his stutter and how art made his voice stronger. Maid went last. She didn't read from a page. Instead, she stood up, looked at the room full of strangers and familiar faces, and said, There's power in what we survive, but there's even more power in how we transform it. She told them a version of her story not with bitterness, but with purpose, about how she once was accused, belittled, hurt, and how a child's voice had shattered a lie, how truth didn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispered. And that was enough. Gregory watched from the back of the room. Elliot leaned against him, sunflower pin gleaming under the overhead lights. When she finished, the room didn't erupt. It stood, in silence, out of reverence, because sometimes, the deepest respect is wordless. That night, Maya sat on the back porch, sketching ideas for a new mural, a tree this time, with roots that looked like hands. Gregory brought her tea and a blanket. Tree of life? He asked. Tree of truth, she answered. With roots that won't forget. He kissed her temple. I like that. And above them, the wind stirred the sunflowers once more. The call came just after midnight. Gregory answered groggily, expecting a board member with no sense of time zones or a spammer trying to sell solar panels. But it was neither. It was the district attorney's office. Claire had taken a plea deal. She would be serving a reduced sentence in exchange for naming names her lover, the shell companies he helped her create, and a handful of other elites whose fortunes were built not just on money, but on silence. Her statement implicated several of Gregory's former business partners. He hung up and sat on the edge of the bed, heart pounding. Maya stirred beside him. "What is it?" He didn't lie. Claire flipped. "She gave up everyone." Maya sat up slowly, the weight of the news settling like fog. "And what does that mean for you?" "I don't know yet," he said. "But some of the names she gave, they were once my closest allies. Men I defended, did deals with." She was quiet. Then, "Do you regret it?" He turned to her, his voice raw. "Every deal I made without asking where the money came from. Every time I turned my head. Every time I let someone else be the one paying the cost." Maya placed her hand over his. "Then make sure the next thing you build doesn't forget that cost." The fallout came fast. News outlets pounced. Some praised Gregory's distance from the exposed criminals. Others dug up old board meeting minutes and stock transfers, hoping to find a trail. His name wasn't in the charges, but his past was now a headline. From tech titan to truth teller, Hamilton's reckoning. Maya watched the coverage from the community center, the mural standing tall behind her. Brenda, the center's director, placed a hand on her shoulder. "You okay?" "It's not my storm," Maya said, "but I know what it feels like to stand in one." That night, they sat at the kitchen table, just the three of them. Elliot drew quietly on the placemats while Maya and Gregory reviewed statements from the Foundation's legal team. "They want me to take a back seat," Gregory said, sliding a folder across to Maya, "temporarily, until the press calms down." She opened it. Inside were documents naming her interim director of the Hamilton Williams Foundation. Maya stared at the page. "You're trusting me with this?" "You've been building it all along," he said. "I just finally caught up." She traced her finger along the signature line. "You sure this isn't just damage control?" Gregory shook his head. "This is correction. Real correction." She signed. At the next board meeting, Maya walked in wearing a navy blazer over a white blouse. No makeup, no theatrics, just presence. Some of the older men looked uncertain. A few whispered. She began without waiting. "Let's be clear," she said. "We're not here to protect reputations. We're here to rebuild trust. If that makes you uncomfortable, you're in the wrong room." The room went still and stayed quiet. No one left. Later, Gregory watched her on the local news standing before microphones, calm, clear-eyed, speaking on behalf of the Foundation with dignity that could not be fabricated. "We are not perfect people," she said, "but we are accountable people, and that is where real change begins." Gregory smiled to himself, pride rising in his chest. She wasn't his shadow. She was his equal. The next morning, Elliot surprised them both by asking to visit Claire. Gregory blinked. "Why?" Elliot shrugged. "I want to know why she was so angry, and I want her to know I'm okay." Maya studied him. "Are you sure?" Elliot nodded. "I need to tell her she didn't win." They brought him, carefully, respectfully. Inside the visitation room, Claire looked tired, older. The fire in her eyes had dulled into something quieter. When Elliot walked in, she froze. He stood across the glass, lifted the small drawing he had made. A picture of himself, Maya, and Gregory, standing in a garden of sunflowers. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. Claire didn't answer. Elliot continued. "You tried to make people believe something bad about Maya, but I saw what was true." Still no response. "I forgive you," he said finally. "But I don't forget." Maya reached for his hand. "Come on, baby." They left without another word. Outside, the sun hit them full on, warm and bold. Elliot exhaled. "I feel better now." Gregory put his arm around him. "That's what truth does." Back at home, Maya found a letter tucked inside her sketchbook, handwritten, from Claire. She read it twice. It didn't ask for forgiveness. It didn't blame. It simply said, "I see it now. You weren't just the maid, you were the mirror, and I couldn't stand what I saw. I'm sorry I broke it. Maya folded it carefully and placed it in the drawer. Not to keep forever. Just for now. Sometimes, even a cracked mirror reflects growth. The garden was different now. The sunflowers had reached their peak, tall, golden, almost regal in the late summer. Sunday bees buzzed lazily between stalks. Elliot had named nearly every one. This one's Winston, he'd say, patting a particularly crooked bloom. And that one's Harriet, 'cause she's strong. Gregory stood on the back porch, mug in hand, watching Maya kneel beside the mint beds. She wore a wide-brimmed hat and old gardening gloves, a small speaker playing Ella Fitzgerald nearby. The sight was ordinary, beautifully so. He walked down the steps, crunching gravel beneath his shoes. Need help? She looked up. Only if you're willing to get dirt under your nails. He grinned. I think I can survive that. They worked side by side for a while. Pulling weeds, turning soil, not talking much. Then, softly, Gregory asked, "Do you ever wonder if all of this is too good to be true?" Maya paused, resting her hand on her knee. I used to think good things had timers on them. That joy was something borrowed, not owned. And now I think, maybe joy doesn't need to be permanent to be real. Maybe it just needs to be honest. He looked at her, quiet for a beat. Can I ask you something? Sure. I want you to move into the main house, officially. Maya's eyebrows lifted. Gregory, I know we've taken this slow, but you're not staff. You haven't been for a long time. You're part of this family. I want Elliot to grow up seeing that clearly. I want you to know it, without question. Maya didn't answer right away. She stood, brushing dirt from her jeans, thinking, I'll move in, she said at last, but only if I get to paint that cold blue wall in the hallway. He chuckled. Deal. Later that week, Gregory hosted a small gathering, just close friends, a few board members, and several families supported by the foundation. It wasn't a party, more like a celebration of growth. They ate under string lights in the backyard. Barbecue, corn on the cob, lemon cake. The kind of food that said, "You're home." Maya mingled easily, hugging children, laughing with elders. She wore a bright yellow dress. Gregory noticed how everyone gravitated to her, not because she was the host, but because she carried a kind of warmth people trusted. Elliot, perched on the swing set, called out, "Tell the story again." "What story?" Maya shouted back. "The one, you know." She smiled and walked over, crouching in the grass. "The story of the sunflower?" she asked. He nodded, eyes wide. She looked around at the small crowd now circling. "Once," she began, "there was a woman who worked in a house that wasn't hers, and she stayed quiet, even when people tried to make her invisible. But one day, someone saw her. A little boy who didn't care about uniforms or power. He just knew she told the truth." Elliot grinned, already knowing the end. "And because of that boy," Maya continued, "the woman remembered who she was. Not just a helper, not just a shadow, but a whole person. And she started to grow like a sunflower, tall and bright, no matter how many people tried to bury her." The crowd clapped, a few eyes misty. Gregory stepped forward and kissed her cheek in front of everyone. It wasn't performative, it was real. A gesture that said, "We're not hiding anymore." That night, after everyone had gone, Maya sat on the living room couch with Gregory, Elliot curled between them, half asleep. "You remember what you said that day?" she whispered. Gregory looked over. "Which day?" "The day you first saw me nursing Elliot, before all the chaos." He smiled faintly. "I said you were saving him, even when I didn't know how to save him myself." She nodded. "And you were wrong." He frowned. "I was? I wasn't saving him," she said gently. "He was saving me." Gregory leaned his head back, exhaling slowly. Then maybe we all saved each other. They sat there, quiet, as the house settled around them. No longer haunted, no longer fractured, just home. A few days later, Maya found a box on the doorstep. No note, no name. Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a small charm, a sunflower in the center, framed by a circle of stars. She didn't need a card to know who it was from. Claire's letter had been the apology. This was the acknowledgement. Maya held it in her palm, then fastened it around her neck, not as a symbol of forgiveness, but as proof. She survived, she grew, she endured, and no one could take that from her again. The first day of school came with its usual swirl of nerves, backpacks too big for little shoulders, and the scent of sharpened pencils. Elliot stood by the front door in a crisp new shirt and tiny red sneakers, his sunflower pin proudly fixed above his heart. Maya knelt beside him, adjusting his collar. "You've got your lunch?" "Yes." "Notebook?" "Ooh. Courage?" He grinned. "Always." Gregory leaned against the doorframe, sipping coffee and watching them with quiet awe. It was still surreal sometimes how naturally they moved together, how easy it had become to share mornings like this. They drove him to school together. All three squeezed into the pickup Maya refused to give up. "It's got character," she always said. Gregory had offered her a luxury hybrid. She'd laughed. As they pulled up to the school, a few parents stared. Some nodded, others whispered. A billionaire, his son, and the black woman once accused of theft, now known as the director of one of the most powerful educational foundations in the city. Elliot kissed Maya on the cheek, then turned to Gregory. "Tell the truth," he whispered. Gregory blinked. "What truth? That you're scared I'll be smarter than you." Gregory laughed, eyes crinkling, terrified. Maya and Gregory watched him disappear into the school building, a streak of red sneakers and curly hair. The bell rang, crisp and certain. A new chapter. Back in the car, they sat in a pocket of silence. "I've been thinking," Maya said, staring out the windshield. About writing." Gregory turned to her. "A book? Maybe just essays. Something honest. About what it feels like to be seen only when it's convenient. And what it means to fight for the kind of justice that doesn't come with applause." He reached over, squeezed her hand. "Whatever you write, the world needs it." "No," she smiled faintly, "even if it makes some people uncomfortable? Especially if it does." 2 months later, Maya stood on a different stage. A national conference for racial justice and education had invited her to keynote. The ballroom was packed educators, lawmakers, activists, journalists. She wore a black suit with gold trim, subtle sunflower earrings dangling from her ears. She didn't speak from notes. She never did. "I was once told that my place was behind a door," she began, "that my value came from silence and service. But here's the truth, silence isn't peace. It's a cage." She told her story. Not just about the accusation, the dismissal, the betrayal, but about what came after. The rebuilding, the reckoning, the child who refused to be quiet, the man who chose to listen, the voice that no longer trembled. She ended with this: "Justice isn't loud. It doesn't always wear robes or bang gavels. Sometimes it shows up as a child's truth, a second chance, a woman who refuses to disappear." The standing ovation lasted nearly 5 minutes. Afterward, a woman approached her backstage, an older teacher with silver braids and tears in her eyes. "You didn't just speak for yourself," she said. "You spoke for all of us." Maya smiled. "Then I hope I did us justice." Back home, life moved on in gentle ways. Gregory transitioned to chairman of the foundation, letting Maya lead without interference. He spent more time volunteering, visiting the programs they funded, listening instead of directing. Elliot thrived. His speech grew stronger, his confidence louder. He made a new best friend, joined the school's art club, and came home one day with a handmade sign that read, My Voice Matters. They framed it in the hallway. Maya's first collection of essays, Beneath the Apron, Stories They Never Saw Coming, was set to release in the spring. And on a Sunday afternoon in October, under the sunflower she had planted with her own hands, Gregory got down on one knee. No fanfare, no photographers, just them. "I'm not asking you to forget what we were," he said. "I'm asking you to believe in what we can become." Maya didn't cry. She had shed her last tears for sorrow long ago. She simply said, yes, not because she needed saving, but because she knew now her story, her power, her voice had always belonged to her. The wedding was quiet. Backyard. Barbecue. A live jazz trio and folding chairs. Elliot danced like no one was watching. Maya wore a sunflower tucked behind her ear. Gregory read vows that started with, "I didn't see you at first," and ended with, "Thank God I finally did." The guests laughed, cried, held each other, not because it was a fairy tale, but because it was true. And truth, once spoken, never dies. Years later, a little girl asked her mother why the community center mural had a sunflower at the center. The mother smiled and said, "Because someone once grew light from darkness, and we never want to forget." The girl nodded. "Like magic?" The mother replied, "No, baby, like Maya." This story reminds us that justice doesn't always roar. It often arrives quietly, in the voice of a child, in the strength of a woman who refuses to be erased, and in the courage of a man willing to change. It teaches us that truth, no matter how long it's buried, will rise when even one person dares to speak it. And above all, it shows that healing begins not with revenge, but with recognition, the recognition of dignity, of pain, of humanity. In a world too quick to judge and too slow to listen, this is a call to see one another fully,